In this video, we're going to take a look at the different production sectors that businesses actually operate in. We will explore what a production sector even is, how many there are, and examine how each of these sectors works closely with one another to get products into the hands of the consumer. Production is the business activity focused on using resources to make goods and provide services. All businesses operate within one of the following production sectors: the primary sector, the secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. For some businesses, they will only operate within one production sector, but for others, it may operate within all of them. So let's have a look at each one individually and improve our understanding of this important topic. We will start by looking at the primary sector. If a business operates within the primary sector, then they are responsible for the production or extraction of raw materials. Here are a number of examples. A fisherman who spends his days fishing would be considered to operate in the primary sector. He takes a material, in this case fish, from the earth, or in this case from the sea, and he passes them to somebody else to be prepared and then be sold. A company mining for precious metals would also be considered to operate in the primary sector, as they are extracting material directly from the ground and passing it on to somebody else to be processed. Another example would be a farmer growing wheat in his field. Although many products can be produced from wheat, if this farmer simply grows and harvests it, he is only considered to be operating in the primary sector. To all the teachers out there, show all of these videos without any ads and gain access to our growing library of over 500 teaching worksheets. Why not visit BizzWizard.co.uk to find out more? Before we go any further, let's meet this video's main example. Normally we meet an entrepreneur or an employee from within an organisation, but this time the main example is this wedding ring, the one there, in the middle. We will look closely at the different businesses involved in the production and supply of this gold wedding ring. How does it get to us? Where does the gold come from? Eventually, it will end up in the store, where it will be purchased. But before this can happen, many other business activities take place. The ring's journey starts in the primary sector. So, this is Steve. He works for a large gold mining operation based in Northern Ireland. For an extremely long time, gold has been one of the most valuable metals on Earth. It has been highly valued by royalty throughout history, and it is still valued today. Because gold is a limited resource, meaning there is only a certain amount of it in the world, this only increases its potential value. Gold has been mined in the UK since the time of the Romans. Today in Northern Ireland, Steve works in a 30-mile gold mine where there is an estimated 15 to 20 million ounces of gold, worth something around £11 billion. Steve spends his days digging, and eventually when gold is finally found, it is then passed on to be manufactured, to be created into something new and more appealing. And this leads us to the secondary production sector. Here, businesses take these raw materials extracted from the earth by businesses operating in the primary sector and transforms them through a process into something ready to be sold or used by the consumer. There are many examples for us to consider of businesses operating in this secondary production sector, but first we will look at manufacturing. This is the production of physical products such as vehicles, furniture, and electronics. Manufacturing is often done on a large scale, with highly automated factories that are able to deliver a low unit cost, meaning that because they create so many of one thing, each one costs that little bit less. As well as manufacturing, in the secondary sector we have the production of fast-moving consumer goods. This is the creation and sale of goods that are quickly consumed. They are used up in a short amount of time, meaning that customers have to buy them more regularly, and therefore they make more purchases. Examples would include food, cosmetics, toiletries and sweets. The fast-moving consumer goods industry is dominated by large brands with large manufacturing and logistical capabilities. brands like Heinz, who produce an estimated 3 million cans of baked beans every single day. The secondary sector would also include construction, building stuff. The construction industry forms a large part of the secondary sector. This includes building of houses, bridges, supermarkets, office buildings, and many other structures. There are many other examples of businesses operating in the secondary sector, and we have looked at just a few. In our example for the primary sector, we met Steve over in Northern Ireland. The gold mined by Steve is actually passed on to Marlowe & Sons Gold Refinery in the Highlands of Scotland. This is Sarah Marlowe, who inherited the business from her father, and the company has been in the Marlowe family for over 2 centuries. Marlowe & Sons take the gold that is extracted from the ground by miners such as Steve and refine this precious metal through a complex chemical process. In fact, it will probably surprise you to know that a very large amount of gold jewellery is not pure gold. This is because gold is an extremely soft metal, and businesses like Marlowe & Sons add other metals, such as platinum, to make the gold a less destructible material. And this is where the term carat comes in, which identifies how much pure gold is actually in the metal. Bring this video and over 100 more to life with fun, interactive games, quizzes, and case studies. Why not try the first 25 completely free by visiting BizzWizard.co.uk. Once Marlowe & Sons have refined the gold, it is then distributed to a number of different jewellers throughout the UK. These jewellers will turn this gold into amazing pieces of jewellery for sale to their customers. And this leads us to discussing the tertiary production sector. In the UK, over 70% of businesses are considered to be classed in the tertiary sector. This is the sector that actually sells stuff and offers services to the consumers, including health services, travel agents, legal and financial services, and supermarkets. The list goes on. Think like this. A service is a business activity that involves people doing things for you, instead of you doing them for yourself. Retail businesses are of course in the tertiary sector as well. This is because they take all of these goods and they organise them conveniently on the shelves for us to pop in and purchase. They also hire staff who are there to serve us and help us when we need them. So, the final example that we will look at on the journey of this gold wedding ring is Reynolds Jewellers. Reynolds is a popular high-end jeweller in a busy part of London, stocking only the best jewellery and watches. Much of the jewellery sold by Reynolds is also created there in the shop. This gold used to create these beautiful pieces is supplied by the Marlowe & Sons refinery. Remember, we met Sarah in our secondary sector example? She was refining the gold that Steve dug up in our primary sector example. The tertiary sector is where consumers can pop into the shop and actually purchase the goods. Very few of them really understand the steps that were taken for the jewellery to arrive there in the store for them to be able to buy it. This example of the wedding ring demonstrates how all of these production sectors are interconnected together. Had the gold not been mined by Steve, it would have never been passed to Marlowe & Sons to be refined. Had it not been refined, it would never have been passed to Reynolds to be turned into pieces of jewellery and would never be available for purchase. Each of the video courses over at BizzWizard.co.uk also includes an interactive business case study that applies the knowledge learnt to a real-world scenario. There are over 1,000 multiple-choice questions, each with detailed feedback, which tests students' understanding of the content. Why not visit BizzWizard.co.uk to find out more? It's important to note that in some instances, businesses can operate in more than one sector. As an example, a restaurant could operate in all 3 production sectors. The restaurant uses raw ingredients taken from the earth by other businesses and uses them to create a tasty dish, meaning they operate in the secondary sector. However, they also offer a service. You come into the restaurant and you sit down. They bring the food to your table with a smile, and they take your drink orders. Once you have finished eating, they finally wash your dishes, and you head home. By providing this service, a restaurant also operates in the tertiary sector. If the restaurant grows its own ingredients in an allotment, it may even be considered as operating in the primary sector. Other examples of businesses operating in multiple production sectors can be found everywhere we look. So, there you have it, production sectors. This is an important topic, and the sector or sectors that a business operates in can have a significant impact on how they operate, the advertising they use, the processes involved, and the ethical decisions that it makes. Each of these production sectors is vitally important to the economy, and any significant change in one sector is likely to have an impact on another. Again, showing just how interconnected they actually all are. This has been the BizzWizard. See you in the next video.